Gold mining in Brazil emerged during a time when Portugal, Europe, and the world were facing an economic crisis. Part of the crisis was explained by a shortage of precious metals in the market, after the euphoria from the discovery of silver mines by Spanish colonizers in the Americas. This silver, which was starting to run out, was used for commercial exchanges between Europeans and Asian regions like China, and also to make coins. To further complicate Portugal's situation specifically, the Iberian Union, which unified the Spanish and Portuguese crowns, had ended in 1640. Also, the Dutch had taken over numerous Portuguese trading posts in Asia, and sugar production in the Caribbean, especially in Barbados, was increasing. There is evidence that some colonists were already taking advantage of this gold earlier, but it was only in the late 17th century that it really exploded and became public knowledge. Records from the U.S. Geological Survey show that in the 18th century, gold production from the Americas accounted for 85% of world production. In the 17th century, that number was 66%, and in the 16th century, only 39%. This huge leap was all thanks to Minas Gerais in Brazil. It was something monumental and unprecedented in history. By far, Brazil became the main distributor of gold in the world. Economic exchanges between countries were uneven, leading to an enormous flow of Brazilian gold to England. This meant that while Portugal had the currency, the English had the products to sell. The gold from Brazil was essentially covering Portugal's foreign debt, mainly in relation to Great Britain. Portugal, which cared little for industry because they could buy manufactured goods more cheaply abroad than at home, continually traded their abundant gold in exchange for luxury goods brought in by others. For example, in 1738, Portugal needed 8,000 kilos of gold just to pay the difference between British imports and exports. We can assume the English absorbed almost 60% through lawful trade alone. Britain was at the heart of a radical financial transformation worldwide, so there was huge demand not just for currency itself to lubricate economies, but also as a monetary stock for the emerging banks, which would provide security to the economy. Britain's entire credit system was anchored in this. And the driving force was gold mining in Brazil. Despite all this money flowing to Portugal and later England, some Portuguese researchers attribute and curse to the abundance of gold, which prevented the industrialization and modernization of Portugal's economy at the time. Something foreseen as early as the 18th century, when the Portuguese diplomat Luís da Cunha wrote that, "We will always depend on England, which has Portugal as one of its best colonies, for it gives it gold and diamonds, which it does not produce itself." It's not just that Portugal took advantage, but the development of London as a global financial center of capitalism is also linked to that society formed in Brazil.